Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand in support of this bill as it is an important piece of legislation that strengthens our borders' security. There are three main facets of this bill. The first is the expanded role of ICA officers. The second is the provision for the collecting of personal identifiers of transit passengers. And the third is the increased penalty for breach of regulations. The expanded role of ICA officers promotes the synergy and collaboration of the ICC, or the Integrated Checkpoints Command. Started in 2015, the ICC organizes Singapore's borders into three domains: air, land, and sea. One domain head that oversees operations of all home team officers in that domain, whether they be CMB, police, or ICA officers. This was a further step to optimize the organization of our home team resources. Back in 2003, the ICA was born from the merging of Singapore Immigration and Registration and the checkpoints operations of Customs and Excise Department. Today, this bill seeks to confer certain police powers on ICA officers so that we are able to respond to situations promptly and effectively. This move in this bill keeps our home team agencies nimble, flexible, and able to address the changing needs in these changing times. The new Section 51AA, subsections 1 and 2, under Clause 4 of the bill, seeks to allow ICA officers to stop and search any vehicle, train, vessel, or person, or any aircraft for evidence of criminal offences being committed in or around the protected area. This includes security screening under subsection 4 of the new proposed Section 51AA under Clause 4. Coupled with powers to intervene to prevent a crime and to cordon off an area to preserve a crime scene under subsections 13 and 14, these powers allow for a prompt response and would aid with the investigation process of crimes committed near the border. Through prompter collection and preservation of evidence at or near the crime scene, there may be more evidence and more cogent, reliable, and accurate evidence collected. It is hoped that this will greatly enhance the administration of justice in Singapore. Further, through the powers of arrest under Clause 4's Section 51AA, subsections 8 to 10, ICA officers' presence at the borders will strengthen the deterrent presence of the home team officers there. The procedural safeguards are in subsections 11 and 12, with subsection 12 playing an important signal that the police are still primarily in charge of these policing duties. Subsection 12 requires the ICA officer to inform the police immediately of the arrest and await the police's arrival for handover, detaining the person in a suitable place for not more than 24 hours. As the ICA officer's powers are restricted to offences committed in the authorized area and its vicinity, and an arrested person has to be ultimately handed over to the police, the relationship between the ICA officers are clearly delineated for effective collaboration. Rather than abrogating from the police's primary duty, these expanded powers further promote prompt and effective responses to a situation at our borders. Even with a strong, uniformed presence near borders, there are some who still dare to commit offences in the area. ICA officers will be equipped through training, and they will not be hamstrung if they witness or have reason to believe that an offence is being committed before their very eyes. This supportive role will enhance the ICA's power to protect Singapore and strengthen security at our borders. The second main feature of this bill is the collection of personal identifiers from passengers transiting through our airport. What has happened in some countries previously is that illegal immigrants traveled using forged documents, staying in the airport lounge to connect to their next destination. Alternatively, illegal immigrants cleared immigration using genuine documents, but switched to forged documents or even took other persons' boarding passes inside the travel lounge. By collecting personal identifiers from those transiting through Singapore Airport, it would be harder to commit identity fraud. Furthermore, there has been a proliferation of fraudulent documents that facilitate travel. It is not just boarding passes that can be faked. Lost passports and fake IDs have increased in number. As of July 2013, Interpol had nearly 38 million lost or stolen travel documents. According to Politico's article, EU's passport fraud is endemic or epidemic, or refers to EU's passport fraud epidemic. In January this year, the number of lost and stolen documents in the EU has doubled in 5 years. There are 250,000 stolen or lost Syrian and Iraqi passports, including blank documents, very easily utilized. A report by the University of East London entitled "Mining the Dark Web, Drugs and Fake IDs," unquote, showed that while counterfeit documents make up a smaller percentage of the market compared to drugs, they are readily available. According to the January issue of S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies, entitled "Counter-Terrorist Trends and Analysis," a small percentage of combat-hardened fighters used forged, adapted, and fraudulently obtained genuine documents to travel home to conduct attacks. So this is real. The collection of personal identifiers add to the advanced passenger information and passenger name record programs which Singapore had committed to in the 2016 APEC Counterterrorism Action Plan in October last year to secure and facilitate legitimate travel within the region. The collection of personal identifiers of transit passengers is not uncommon in today's increasingly globalized world. Such countries include New Zealand and the United Arab Emirates. Currently, travelers who remain in the transit area do not need a visa. Clause 55B, which provides for collection of personal identifiers, covers both those who remain in transit and those who apply for or hold a Singapore visa. This is needed. Such a provision is necessary and timely to ensure security in our airports, and it should be implemented with the utmost care to stringently secure the information collected. If such personalized data gets into the wrong hands, the cure may be worse than the ill. As the number of travelers at our airports has been increasing, hitting the record 60 million mark last year, it is important that those who travel through Singapore for legitimate reasons not be afraid of the collection of important personal identifiers such as fingerprints and even irises. Rather, through stringent and high-quality implementation, our position as a travel elite hub and Singapore's airport's reputation will grow stronger by being more secure and lowering possibility for identity fraud and a safer transit area. We need to ensure that our security measures are tight and kept up to date or even ahead of the technologies used by criminals to maneuver their way around the proper safeguards. Another feature of the bill is the increased maximum penalty for breach of regulations. Originally set at imprisonment of 6 months or fine of $1,000, Clause 5C of this present bill increases it to imprisonment of 2 years or a fine of $3,000. This update of the maximum penalty ensures that inflation does not rob the penalty of its deterrent and punitive effect. In conclusion, Mr. Deputy Speaker, this Immigration Amendment Bill is a welcome addition to the tools and the weaponry that our ICA officers need to secure our borders effectively in these changing times. By empowering Home Team officers to respond promptly and by enhancing security measures, this bill is a further step forward towards a synergistic and comprehensive response against terror threats in Singapore. I therefore strongly support the bill.